Hi, we're joined today by Dennis Sheirs, Vice President of Kegel's Chemical Division, and Brandy Padilla, a 20-year veteran of the Chemical Division at Kegel. We've had many questions come through regarding MicroStriker and thought the best answers always come directly from the source. The number one question that we've been asked over the phone is, how did we come up with a product so quickly?
I'd love to say it was really quick, but really this started in 2014 as developing a disinfectant tablet for use in hospitals. And we've actually been started going through the registration process this year, just before the COVID situation came out. So we were really way ahead of it, and we already had this available and went in the testing, and it worked well.
So I understand that we're currently going through the EPA certification process.
Correct.
Can you explain a little bit how that works and what we're actually doing to go through that?
Sure. The EPA registration process is not easy. Nothing with the government ever is. We have to send in samples to an independent lab to have them tested. We have to meet all kinds of qualifications, and we have to do the full registration for this particular product because there's not another product using this same chemistry to register, to piggyback off of. So we have to send all of this out and do a lot of testing and a lot of paperwork really to get our disinfectant registration.
And I understand that the tablet is mainly active chlorine. So why do we choose active chlorine as our agent in our tablet?
Active chlorine's been around for years, and it's highly effective on viruses, so it's never been a issue. And the nice thing about active chlorine is when it's done being active and it's in its active state, it goes back to a what they call an inert state, or just a chloride ion, so it doesn't have any harmful activity left to it.
So what are the risks of using products with active chlorine?
Really, there are none. There's inherent risks with using any product because it's a chemical, and where my skin sensitivity may be different than yours, there's always those kinds of hazards. But as far as using it for cleaning and leaving behind any residue, you have really zero hazards compared to using something much more aggressive or something very harsh.
What is the difference between bleach and chlorine?
Well, bleach contains chlorine. It's in a form called sodium hypochlorite. And what that does is the sodium being with the chlorine, it increases the pH so it stays stable, and the chlorine can stay active for a long period of time. The downside to it is chlorine, the sodium hypochlorite that's in bleach will actually rust stainless steel. It's much more damaging than just the chlorine that's used in here. So it's much more aggressive towards surfaces. Plus, once again, you're not getting any detergency from it, so on the bowling ball itself, it's not going to get through and necessarily kill everything you're trying to get to kill in the first place.
And we notice, obviously, it's a tablet that goes in a 24-ounce bottle or another bottle that you would choose based on our dilution ratios. Can you explain how important the dilution ratio actually is?
Very, very critical. So this is the reason the dilution chart, and certain viruses respond better to certain levels of chlorine. So if you're just trying to sanitize it, like you do in a restaurant, and you have that sanitation thing, usually that's around 100 parts per million to 200 parts per million chlorine, enough to kill any remaining bacteria off that dish. But we're trying to kill a virus, so having that right level of chlorine, which is going to be around 1,000 parts per million to around 1,800 parts per million, it helps you guarantee that you're actually killing what you're trying to kill in the first place.
And since we're talking about killing viruses, obviously at Kegel we do a lot of testing regarding our Lane machines, Lane chemicals, and those products. How do we actually test this product?
Now this one's a little more challenging for us to test. Since we're not a biolab, thank goodness we're not, we used a simple tester for, number one, for making sure we're killing things by using what they call an ATP tester. All living things have adenine triphosphate, and that's about the least technical way I can explain it. And we did simple tests with that tool to determine if we were actually killing bacteria. And we looked at standard guidelines from the CDC on recommended levels of chlorine, and the formula was based around those recommended levels. The only twists we did that were different, if you go out and look on some janitorial sites, you'll see chlorine tablets. Those just disinfect. We incorporated much more into our formula than what those tablets contain.
And obviously the one question everybody wants to know as well is there any possibility that this will damage my bowling ball?
No, because the chemistry in here is pretty inert towards this particular substrate with like a urethane. It's not going to damage the bowling ball.
So that looks like a pretty nice spray bottle. Was that part of your testing process as well?
Actually, it was. We decided that we wanted to use a sprayer that would give really good coverage while conserving product for the user. So we did a lot of homework on this, and these sprayers are really nice. They spray a good amount of product. They give you really nice surface coverage, so that you're not wasting product. But if you don't like this sprayer, you're welcome to use any sprayer that you like. You can use MicroStriker in fogger machines or in electrostatic sprayers.
So when using this on hard surfaces or bowling balls, do we test what types of residues it leaves behind?
It actually leaves behind 0 residue. We did do a lot of testing with this on several different types of bowling balls. We used some performance balls as well as house balls. We had our bowlers bowl with their balls before we cleaned them and then after they cleaned them, and there was no difference in ball reaction at all. We also cleaned the lab countertops many times, making sure that there was no residue after the solution dried on the countertops. We have black countertops in here, so you could easily see most residues left behind.
And everybody hears the word active chlorine a lot, and active to me means that something is basically alive and has a shelf life. So what is the shelf life of this product?
So that's true. Everything that's active eventually becomes inactive. The chlorine in this is effective or is active when you start dissolving it. It takes about 2 minutes for the chlorine to get at the right level. Then it's good for about 4 hours. After 4 hours, you can still use the solution to sanitize, but at that point, you don't have a high enough level of active chlorine to continue killing bacteria at the same level. So after 4 hours, you can use it to sanitize or to clean other hard surfaces, so you don't have to get rid of your bottle. But generally speaking, it's about 4 hours for disinfecting.
And based on your testing, what is the actual best way to use the product?
Well, we have a bottle here that's already filled, so just fill it with warm to hot water and remove the tablet from the package. Drop it in. Now you'll have enough chlorine in solution in about 2 minutes. So you can start spraying before the tablet's already fully dissolved. And after it's in solution, the nice thing about these misters is you're not using a lot of cleaner, but you're getting a lot of surface coverage with it. So if you just mist the bowling ball itself where it sits, rotate it around to get all the sides, and then get a good shot in the finger holes, and just leave it sit to dry.
Now obviously there's a lot of products that I can buy in my local grocery store. What makes MicroStriker different than any of those other cleaning products?
So MicroStriker is a cleaner and disinfectant all-in-one. We're giving you that all-in-one solution where a lot of disinfectants are meant specifically for disinfecting. What that says to you and me is that I need to clean the surface with a cleaner to remove any dirt and oil first, and then I can go back and disinfect to actually get rid of the bacteria. We've given you a one-step solution so you don't have to do double the work.
And we also talk about surfactants in the product. Can you kind of explain what those are and how they work?
Sure, surfactants are actually like soap. Think of it as the meat and potatoes that actually gets in there and does all the work. So with a product like MicroStriker, you have surfactants that penetrate the ball and help remove the oil and dirt, but then you also have the disinfectant. So that's where your surfactants come in. It's going to help clean any dirt and grime off of a table if you're using it on a tabletop or on the bowling ball as you're disinfecting.
And I know a lot of people are using alcohol and they've read a lot of things online. Is alcohol better than chlorine?
The problem with alcohol is you're looking at such a large surface area, this bowling ball, that you can't get the surface. You have to use a lot of it for one, and you're going to have to keep applying it to keep it wet, the surface wet long enough to kill what you're trying to kill in the first place, because it's evaporating so fast. So it needs extremely long contact time, and then you're dealing with a very flammable substance on top of it. So where this one, you can see the surface stays wet much longer, allows you to get the contact time you need to kill the virus, where with alcohol you're going to have to keep doing it again and again and again over the course of about 5–10 minutes.
So we've talked a lot about using MicroStriker on bowling balls. Where else can you use it, or can you use it other places in your bowling center?
Sure, you can use it in a lot of places. We recommend that you use it on any hard surface. So you can use it on your tables, you can use it on the sofas, you can use it on bar stools. You could spray it on a towel and wipe down your keypads. You can literally use it on any hard surface without fear of MicroStriker damaging anything.
I know we've been asked a few times about rental shoes, and I don't know if that disinfectant is getting harder to get, but we've never tested it on that, and we would have to do a more thorough test before I could honestly answer that question, and that test would take longer than just me spraying on a pair of rental shoes and going, yeah, it works, it looks good. We would actually need to run through and make sure we're not going to damage the shoes, that the residues are good, that there are no issues.